Welcome to Trash Talking. I'm here with that one, Edgy Kid. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, man. I'm really excited to be on.
Awesome. Now I have to ask, do you have a name or is it a secret?
It is a secret, I'm afraid,
It is.
publicly. I go by Edgy publicly, but
Okay.
I remember when I was first starting out, one of the very first things I remember content creators saying was make sure you keep your name private, or if you can, use a fake name online. So that's what I've
Yeah.
stuck by.
Oh, awesome. Now, I remember listening to you did an episode of Primordial Podcast.
Yeah.
Was it last year?
Yeah, last year, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember them calling you Edgy, and I wasn't sure if it was just like they just chose to call it you, but very interesting. Yeah. I mean, keep everything as secret as you can, online world and all that. So people know your name, Edgy. Go ahead and introduce yourself. What is it you do in the online world?
Hi, so I'm Edgy, known as That One Edgy Kid online. I am mainly a TikToker. I make videos about music, flags, any sort of general thing that's on my mind.
Awesome. Where did the flag thing come from?
Oh, wow, okay. So, I've always been, like, autistic, been into all that kind of stuff. Very Sheldon Cooper, fun with flags type beat. I don't know
Gotcha.
what it is about them. I've just always found, like, a really weird fascination with how they look. I think flags are wicked.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, for some reason, they just tickle a part of my brain that I can really enjoy.
Yeah. No, I like it. And it's such a niche thing. And I mean,
Yeah.
now you've done it and you've had the success from it because you get thousands of views on every single one that you do. Everyone else is probably thinking, why didn't I think of that first? But it's always these really random things that no one thinks to do that always do so well.
Yeah, or two, I can't take the credit for the flags. I think Jack's Films did that like 7-8 years ago, in all fairness. But yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. What would you say is your favourite one you've done so far then?
Oh, God, of all the flags I've made, I
I
really
know
like...
you've done many.
I like my Scene Queen one, just from like an aesthetic point of view. I really like the pink and the black I did with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like my Les Mis one, just because it's got the French flag in it, and I've got to represent my home.
Gotcha. Oh, you got some French heritage, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm a French citizen, technically.
Gotcha. Are you living in England now?
Living in, yeah. But family's French.
Ah, awesome. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, so just going back to TikTok, obviously you got over 420,000 people following you over on TikTok. That's, mighty impressive.
Thank you.
But everyone started at 0 followers. So what is it that inspired you to pick up your phone and start recording yourself for everyone on the internet to see?
I've always been interested in like content creation. I remember when I was like, before I really knew what social media was, I had YouTube on like my iPod Touch as a kid. So since then, for some reason, I liked seeing myself like on camera. But I think what got me into doing TikTok was it was just before lockdown. I was in college and a lot of people were on TikTok and were telling me to get on it. So it was more just out of curiosity than anything.
Okay, so you're saying college. So how long ago has that been now since you've been on TikTok?
I think I hit 5 years recently, so about 5 years, yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to scroll through earlier to try and see your earliest ones, and I was getting cramped trying to get all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, no, I have a habit of not deleting anything as well, so it's just like so many just to go back to try and get to the old ones. But no, about 20 beginning of 2020 was, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And did it ever have any kind of like musical input, or was it always like sketches, or just what was trending at the time?
Initially it was kind of like TikTok sounds, that kind of just text on screen sound. And then it took a while before I started making properly music content. I know I made a couple like what your music taste says about you videos back in the day, but I'd never really focused heavy on music. It wasn't until, do you remember when the Metallica were blowing up on TikTok through Stranger Things?
Yes, yeah.
It was during that, and I remember seeing this was when all the worst of its discourse was at its high, and everyone was slagging off everyone else. And I remember that pissing me off, and I was like, I'm going to come in and be nice to new metalheads, and that's what got me into making metal content.
Okay. Was there like a definitive point in which like you saw the popularity just explode, or was it very gradual?
It's been mainly gradual for me, but it's had its little moments. Like initially 2020, I started doing the What Your Blank Says About You series, and that I think I hit about 30k in that, which was mental. And then it was very slow, steady growth until the Metallica stuff, and then that boosted me up again. And then slow and it's weird. I have slow and steady growth throughout with like small moments of quick boosts, if that makes sense. Like if you have a viral series or something. But yeah, it's mainly slow.
Uh-huh.
Gross.
Well, that's it. Like in talking to like my wife and that, I'm making TikToks myself now.
Yeah.
It's always the ones that you just sat on the settee and you think, oh, I'll do a TikTok about that. It's always those ones that do the best. The ones that you plan for like up to an amount of hours or whatever.
Yeah.
It just like hits a brick wall.
Oh,
So,
absolutely. My newest series now, it's just like, it's kind of silly, the How Gay series. That's absolutely popped off. Most of the videos are each at least 1 million. And I remember it was literally just on the day I was like, oh, I don't know what to post. And I remember for some reason that came to my head and I was like, yeah, wouldn't it be funny if I just said how gay's your music taste? And they've all just popped off.
yeah.
So it is mental.
Yeah. Are they like widely accepted by the audience?
Yeah. I've not had any sort of negativity, which I'm really happy about, because whenever I talk like LGBT stuff, that you always end up with like some homophobes or some assholes in the audience who take it and just take it as an excuse to be horrible. I'm very lucky that for some reason this series has reached exactly the right people.
Yeah.
And it's just full of other queer people having a laugh.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's perfect. So obviously you've been there. You've been at 0 followers on TikTok. There's a lot of people that want to get into it now. I mean, myself included. I've been doing TikTok for probably about 2 months now, solid.
Oh, nice.
What would you say is your main tips for like someone who's just starting out?
Oh god. Well, it very much depends on what kind of content you want to make, but I would say it's very easy to get distracted by following cookie cutter instructions that a lot of like creators put out there. You know how you have those like creators who exclusively are there to sort of help you grow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 of them, their advice is shit. Don't listen to them. That is what I would say, is focus on making content that not only you enjoy, but that you also are proud of, like stuff you've put effort in, and you'll grow through that, is what I'd say. Yeah,
that's it. And you just do what you're passionate about, and the algorithm will put you in the laps of the people who care about that kind of content.
Exactly. There's never been a better time to find the right audience for you. The algorithm is scarily good at showing you to the right people.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, talking the algorithm, mine recently, in past times, I kind of question my own mentality with what Instagram shows me.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm in such a nice position on Instagram because it's just Pokemon cards, one after the other after the other.
Oh, nice.
Pokemon cards, and it's all like really wholesome videos. So when I'm scrolling on my lunch, I'm actually feeling good about my algorithm for once.
I need to give out Instagram a chance, because Reels has always thrown me off. I've posted some and they've done all right, but like when it comes to actually watching them, I don't know what pops off there. I don't understand it, if that makes sense. Yeah, like it feels like a much more Wild West place than TikTok.
See, I'd see it the other way around completely. Like,
really?
Instagram seems like the well-behaved sibling, and TikTok's like the crazy sibling. Yeah, but like you're right. Like something that I'd put on TikTok would like blow up and do incredible, and then you go on Instagram and it's got like 37 views.
I've had that as well. Yeah. Had that big time. Like I'll have series that do like hundreds of thousands of views on TikTok, post them to Instagram, nothing. I don't understand the algorithm at all.
Not at all. Right, so obviously with your 420,000 followers, I'm going to keep saying it because it really is impressive.
Thank you.
Just out of interest, is there anyone that you know personally that's got more than 420,000, or are you the big dog?
What, like personally, like just friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, loads.
Oh, okay. You're obviously in some inside TikTok loops.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, publicly, the ones I've probably made videos with the most is Dinosaur. Back when I was living in Wales. So I'd probably but I know loads of people with more followers than me.
As if. No way. To me, 420,000 is incredible. Like,
it really is still incredible. Don't get it still blows my mind. Like looking at my own number, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you first started, was that even like expectations or?
Oh no, absolutely not. Like I didn't expect to get any views. Like I posted my first ever TikTok. Oh, I've clicked away from me. Sorry. I posted my first ever TikTok and it got like 2,000 views, and that blew my mind. That was like, holy shit, that's mental. What the fuck? I never expected it to go this far. No.
I mean, did you grow up watching? Obviously, predating TikTok, did you grow up like as a YouTube kid watching YouTube
big time.
all the time?
Big time, yeah. I mean, there was obviously the early stuff with like Smosh and Fred and all that. And then I think the ones that really got me into like enjoying like social media content creation, I guess, was like Dan and Phil were the big ones. a lot of the UK scene dents, like Thatcher Joe, Ollie, what was his name? Ollie Summon, Marcus Butler, all them lot. I was very much into like that vlogging side of things back then.
And it was always like the perfect dream, wasn't it? It still is now. Kids look at YouTubers now as we looked at like movie stars and whatever. Yeah. So it's good to see that and then aspire to become, as big as you have done.
Yeah. It is a dream job for me and so many others. It's incredible.
I mean, perfect transition. You mentioned dream job. You are full-time now, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
That's truly incredible. How is that to say, like, how is it having TikTok as a job?
It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's really hard it's a job that's hard to complain about because like anyone from the outside's looking in going, listen, you have no fucking right to complain. You post a TikTok for a living. Yeah. But it has its ups and downs, but I wouldn't trade it. It's, it can get stressful having so many eyeballs on you and having your entire life reliant on an algorithm that seems to be changing by the day. Yeah. But it is lovely to be able to just sort of post whatever I want and get paid for it. It's insane.
Yeah. I suppose once you've got the audience they're there for you, aren't they? So you more than anyone, and as long as you think I like this, you're in a very good position that the audience are just going to simply like it as well.
That is something I noticed recently as well, because I've always been sort of, especially about a year or two ago, really worried about what I'm posting, being like, are people going to like this? I don't know, this. I have to stick to what I always do, otherwise people aren't going to enjoy it. And I started making a few series throughout the last year or so, which have gone off of the content I normally make, and they've all been received well. So it is lovely seeing people follow on through different kinds of content. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how long is it you've been full time now?
When did it was not last 2023 September. It was when the Creator Fund really got a leg up. Mm-hmm. You know, when they started, like, the RPM went from like 2 pence to like 50 pence.
Oh wow, okay. So that's it's right. TikTok nerds all love this, and I just want to ask these questions. But
I love all this stuff.
So how does it work in terms of views then? Because obviously talking YouTube, that's advertising revenue, so that depends on how many people land on that advert and then watch a certain amount of that advert. How does it work with TikTok? Obviously, because there's no adverts.
So it is a similar thing in the sense that every video you post, which is eligible, so over a minute long, not a stitch, all that stuff, you'll get an RPM, and they have recently. Because before we didn't know what this RPM was calculated on at all. It would just give you a number and you work with that. But recently have added a separate thing, so it shows you. It doesn't tell you exactly how it affects the RPM, but it is affected depending on where the viewer is from, how long they watch the video for, how much they engage with the video and stuff like that. So to my knowledge, TikTok have a pool of money that they use in this fund to pay its creators, and that money is divided among all the creators through their views and stuff. So it's basically the same as YouTube in the sense of you get paid per certain amount of views, and your RPM varies between each video.
Okay, cool. So more views, more money.
Simple as that. Basically, yeah.
Oh, awesome. You don't do any YouTube currently, do you?
I've posted a few videos here and there. I started a Minecraft series for a bit. I'd love to, but I haven't as of yet. No.
Yeah. Is it something you think you could try and get into, or are you more than happy where you are at TikTok?
I'd definitely like to move on to like YouTube, or at least doing some longer form content eventually. Don't get me wrong. It's just that it's that weird in between zone where that's what I want to sort of be doing at the end, but TikTok's the thing that pays the bills. Yeah. So you've got to kind of find a balance of finding the time to try and work on something for YouTube whilst also keeping the consistency you need for TikTok.
That's it. Yeah, of course. Okay, so I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent here. I can't remember if it was the point in which I discovered you on TikTok, but it was definitely around that time. Can we talk Ronnie Radke?
Oh fuck! Yeah, sure.
I haven't put this to you beforehand, so I want to ask you now.
Sure.
He's obviously a huge celebrity, whatever. Mm-hmm. I bet that was quite surreal seeing him quoting one of your videos.
To an extent. I mean, it was the second time it happened, so it was less so for me.
Oh, it's the second time, so it's happened previously.
So he did it a few years ago, back when I was a lot smaller. He stitched me saying I had a neck beard or something, and bloke never liked me. And I think that video either got taken down or he deleted it. I feel like it would have been taken down. I don't think he would have deleted it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to say it was surreal because I was semi-expecting it.
Yeah.
Knowing his antics online, I knew that
I suppose
if I got enough views slagging him off, he'd stitch it. Like, it wasn't on purpose. I just knew that was an inevitability. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And was that one of those instances that you saw your profile blow up at all? Because obviously algorithms have the ways of stitching people to other audiences.
I definitely got a little boost from that, I will say. It wasn't anything spectacular. I think a lot of that boost was just from the initial video that I mentioned Ronnie in, which was What Your Music Taste Says About You, one of them. Yeah. That video itself just did very well and got a lot of views. So it's hard to tell if the Ronnie stitch had an impact on that or if it was just naturally from that video anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, cool. Hey, it's bizarre, like, to see what celebrities can see your content. Like, talking about myself for a second. Sharon Osbourne follows me on Instagram.
Oh, no way.
Why? I've got no idea.
Since when? Because is it from like all the Black Sabbath?
That's it. Yeah, the Back to the Beginning shows.
Yeah.
So she follows me on there, and just to know that whatever I post is in the palm of Sharon Osbourne potentially. So all the proper shit, like dead internet stuff that I'd post on my story normally, I'm thinking. It's funny for me, but Sharon Osbourne probably wouldn't appreciate it.
Well, if she's still following, she must be enjoying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Hopefully, anyway. Yeah. Right, cool. So, we spoke about your future plans. Should we talk about your history with Download Festival? Because I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, sure.
What was your first year?
2018.
Awesome. Who was there that year? Who was headlining?
It was Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes.
Avenged Sevenfold, and I can't remember the third one. Hang on, let me Google it. I spent most of that year absolutely hammered, so I don't even think I saw any of the headliners.
Yeah.
It was and Guns N' Roses. I did see Guns N' Roses. Okay.
Ah, gotcha. And what made you go? Was it just something you'd always wanted to do, or?
Yeah, it was just a case of I always wanted to do Download. I was never old enough, and my family were never going to take me. I was 17 in 2018. I was finally able to go on my own, and I went, sod it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. 17 is the good age to go. That was when I went to my first one as well. Like a real coming of age experience, isn't it?
Yeah, it was great. To be honest, 2018 wasn't actually that great for me in the end, in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, okay.
Just because I didn't really know anyone I was camping with. I knew one person and a group of her mates. The only issue was all her mates were pushing 30. Me, 17-year-old, there kind of felt out of place. But the next year was great.
Yeah, gotcha. And you've now developed your camp as such, haven't you? So
yeah,
awesome stuff. And I assume you're going to be joining us this year as well.
I will be. Yep.
Awesome stuff. Well, I saw you went to the launch party, didn't you?
Yeah, that was mental.
Yeah, how was it?
Oh, it was great. It was very surreal because I'd always viewed these things as like an outsider, like watching all these people go to these events, and just being in a room with loads of people I've looked up to. I was like, I will say I was so out of place. I was kind of just stood there, not really knowing anyone. I was lucky I bumped into Jews from Primordial and spent a lot of time with him. Gotcha. Same with Ollie Eats. It was great to meet those guys in the flesh.
Yeah, awesome guy, Ollie Eats, yeah.
Yeah, but it was mental to be invited just in a room with so many important people, and you're like, oh, okay, you know what I mean?
Well, the thing is, now it's really evident you do belong, and
well, thank you.
Shouldn't feel that way at all.
It's more. I mean it more in a sense of I'm very outside of the music industry, if that makes sense. I view my stuff a lot more along the lines of comedy and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it felt very like it was great. Don't get me wrong. It definitely it felt very like this is the big pond now. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And how are you seeing the lineup? Is it a banger for yourself?
Oh, I love the lineup. My only complaint is the three bands I was most excited to see were Apocalyptica, Within Temptation, and McFly. all three of them are headlining separate stages on the Friday, so they're all going to clash, and I'm gutted.
That's it. Yeah. What was that? Avalanche, Dogtooth, and Second Stage.
And Second Stage, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Green Day on Main as well, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is definitely one of those years this year where there's so much on, but it does, on the initial thoughts, it does all look to be on at the same time. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
We can make it to all the ones we want to.
You
were gone.
Also, I was going to say, even if not, it'll be a brilliant time either way.
Oh, of course. I think download's just one of those things where it doesn't necessarily matter about the bands. It's just you're there for download.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. If they could have anyone on that lineup, I'll still go.
Yeah, for sure. And you're a general camper.
Yes, always.
Yeah. Have you ever been offered nicer camping?
I've been offered, I'm sure, yeah, but it depends on the festival. If there was a festival I didn't really know anyone at, then sure, I'll take it. But download's like my home. It's where all my family, friends, like my friends who I consider family are, and they're all in general. And I go for them. I go to hang out with them and the vibes, and I can't go in some like bougie camping. They don't have the vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. The parties where your friends are, and
exactly.
I agree with you. Like, I've done RIP in the past, and I've still had such a good time. The past 2 years, well, last year especially in general, it's just as good because you're surrounded by your friends. It doesn't matter if it's pissing it down. As long as you're with your friends, having a good drink.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I'm sober, but yeah, good for.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, speaking from personal experience.
Oh yeah, I definitely used to be the type. Yeah.
Cool. So, what's your drink of choice then at a festival?
At a festival now, or last year actually at Download, it was mainly a mix of monsters and smoothies.
Okay.
I'd need the monster for the energy, and then I'd go out and into the village, and they had like little They had a smoothie bar in the village. I remember that was lush, and then one in the arena by the doghouse or the Dogtooth stage, which wasn't as great, but that was probably just a bad choice on my end. Yeah. For some reason, smoothies I found I really like get me going through a festival.
Hit the spot.
Yeah, they do.
Awesome. Like to hear it. Right then, so if it's all good with yourself, we will hit the trash talking questions.
Of course.
So I sent you a list of questions. Yes. Are you prepared?
I am. Yes, I have spent embarrassingly long figuring some of these out, to be honest.
I like to hear it. It's dedication. Awesome. So if you hit me with your first one, what was your first ever album?
So I've got two answers for this. I've got the first one I was given and the first one I bought.
Okay.
Because the first album I was given was Justin Bieber's My World 2.0, the one with Baby on it.
Wow. Yeah.
I'll still stand by that album. Brilliant album, in my opinion. But the first one I really bought with my own money was Korn's self-titled.
Oh, nice.
It was like, it came out way before I was born, but I was in like a record shop in Camden. And I finally had like a bit of pocket money left over, and I was like, I like Korn, I'm going to buy that. So yeah, that one.
And were you already into, that genre of music, or was that what kind of shaped you into?
Oh no, at the point I bought the Korn album, my dad always listened to like Guns N' Roses, ZZ Top, AC/DC growing up, so I was always into like rock to an extent. Yeah. And I think it was, I can't remember exactly what got me onto heavier stuff. I normally say it was Amon Amarth when I saw him on the telly for some reason. Yeah. But for some reason, I've always just naturally gravitated towards the rockier, heavier stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got an incredibly eclectic taste. It's so vast. When I see some of your posts, and you're like, not necessarily saying you listen to them, but when you're doing if you listen to this, and some of the artists that come up, I'm like, I don't even know who that is, but I can tell they're like extremely fruity and like just different, and I'm like, wow. This guy has such an eclectic taste.
I was going to say, wait till we get to the albums section of the questions. It's all over the place.
A rainbow of albums.
Basically, yeah.
Awesome. Brilliant. So, Justin Bieber and Korn. That's both sides of both ends of the spectrum. So what was your first ever gig or show?
Again, I don't know if I can technically count my first ever gig. It was the X Factor Tour 2010, the year Jedward were in it.
Wow.
I was just having a look in preparation for this. I was looking back at the year and having a look at the lineup at who actually was there. There was some decent names. There was Ollie Murs there, apparently. Lucy Jones, who I am like a huge fan of now. Didn't realise she was at this gig. I don't really remember it. I was a little kid. But my first like proper gig was Billy Joel at Wembley. That was incredible.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Love Piano Man. Piano Man's on like heavy rotation in our house, I must say.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, my wife hates it for some reason.
How can you hate Piano Man?
I think she hates it because, I mean, I'm saying this because you know exactly what I'm on about. Do you know in the Daft meme where it's like the frog jumping off the bridge and the start of Piano Man starts playing like he's committing suicide?
Yeah.
I used to play that thinking it was hilarious, and from that, she hates that song. But no, Billy Joel, really good start, man.
Thanks.
Yeah,
no, it was brilliant gig.
Tunes has Billy Joel got? I'm dreadful.
Oh, he's got Tell Her About It. We Didn't Start the Fire.
Of course.
I've suddenly gone blank. Even Vienna.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I remember a single Billy Joel song? He's one of my favorite artists. Scenes from an Italian restaurant. She's always he's got loads of songs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. When was that? Sorry.
Was it? I think it was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever he played Wembley a few years ago. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Very nice. Again, you're just proving how eclectic your taste is.
Thank you.
And what would you say the best gig or show was that you've ever seen?
So I thought about this a while because it's really hard to know what I consider best. But if we're just talking all around, I'd put Muse, I think 2019 on their Simulation Theory tour at the London Stadium. That gig was just like fucking incredible. You had people walking down like the massive screens. You had massive stage show. It was Muse, just incredible. They always blow out the park, and they're one of my favorite bands. And that's the one gig I can really look back and say, like, because with a lot of other gigs who are great, you're like, oh, that was a really good time. But Muse, you look at and you go, you can tell how much fucking like work from everyone has been put in behind the scenes to make this an incredible show. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like more of an experience.
Oh yeah, completely.
Watching a band play on stage.
Yeah, you could not know a single Muse track, go to that show and have the time of your life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Me and my wife were only talking Muse the other day because obviously they played Download. Was that pre you going to Download?
Yes, that was pre me going. I think it was 2015, 2016, the years they did.
Sounds about right. And we were just saying it was so random that they randomly played that 1 year and then they haven't returned, because I'm sure if there were to return, they'd return to open arms. I'm very sure.
I was hoping they'd return a couple years back when they released, or was it a year? Maybe not even a couple years, whenever they released their newer album, which had like a bit of a heavier side to it. I thought, well, that's right up Download Street. They're going to be there. They weren't, and I was severely disappointed. But, you know, I reckon they'll still do it one day.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, how many years can we have Maiden and Slipknot headlines? So we need.
Well, it seems they are moving away from that now, luckily.
Yeah, gratefully. Yeah, definitely. How do you feel about Sleep Token particularly headlining Download?
So in terms of like just my taste, I'm not a huge Sleep Token fan. I've never, which is weird because they seem like they should be right up my alley, but I don't know. I've never really been able to get into them. But in terms of them headlining Download, I'm chuffed just because it is like you see a lot of other like mainstream festivals, and they've always got what's current and what's new and popular headlining and doing this, and it always felt like Download was so far behind on that. And this year truly feels like, yes, they've taken something that is like relatively brand new in the grand scheme of things and given them the chance to have like the biggest stage possible. I'm really excited to see what they do with it. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I've said many a time before, they can't grow stagnant, Download, because that's where things like Sonosphere die because of this. So it's nice to see Download moving with the times and bringing us new headliners, and you know.
Yeah, what happened with Sonosphere was one I was too young to experience. What was the vibe there?
I hadn't gone.
Personally. Oh, fair. Sorry.
So, like I say, I did Download when I was 17 in 2012. That was my first year. And I reckon, I may completely be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Sonosphere finished maybe that year or the year after. So I'm not entirely sure. But I think it was just a case of blowing the budget. I'm sure 1 year they had Kiss, Queen, and someone else ridiculous, like really big. Fair. And they just spent all the money and couldn't return the next year.
Yeah, fair.
So yeah, good on it, Download. Let's keep it up.
Yeah.
Right, so next question, we have got your favourite 5 movies.
Yes, right, let me quickly put... So, favourite or Desert Island?
We'll go Desert Island. So if you're trapped on the Desert Island for the rest of your days, what 5 movies would you take?
Okay, so I've thought strategically about this. I'm also somewhat cheating this grand scheme of things, because I know there's also like the 5 albums I can choose. I've got a few musical movies, so I've kind of tried like just to buff it up. So first one is Les Mis, the movie. Firstly, it's like fucking ridiculously long, so there's that. The whole thing is just song, so that just basically adds a whole extra album, and I just love the film. I'm a big musical fan.
Gotcha.
And then on the list, I have my favourite film, which is... It depends. It's departures in the UK. It's called Then Came You when it released in America. For some reason. It's with Asa Butterfield and Maisie Williams. It tells the story of like this girl who's got cancer and meets a friend through a support group. And it's a really heartwarming story. And I always cry at the ending. So I knew I'd need something like cheery, but also emotional if I'm stuck on this island. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Keep you feeling alive.
Exactly. Yeah. I need some sort... I want to feel something. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, okay, so I need something nostalgic as well. Because sometimes you're in those nostalgic vibes. And... I didn't know what to choose, like, because I was really into like the Disney Channel stuff and the Nickelodeon stuff and all that.
Yeah.
So I've gone with Lemonade Mouth. It's not necessarily my favorite out of like that era of stuff. I'm much more of like a High School Musical camp rock fan.
Okay.
However, High School Musical's 3 movies and Camp Rock's 2, and that takes up too much space. Lemonade Mouth is 1 movie, so at least I get the whole story through that one.
Gotcha. You're talking gibberish to me. Lemonade Mouth is obviously...
So these are like
aged Nickelodeon at this stage.
Oh, it's like a Disney Channel original. It's actually got a really good soundtrack. I reckon you should check it out. It's about like a group of high schoolers who get together and form a rock band.
Oh, awesome!
It's quite fun.
I grew up through High School Musical and all that business, so I know the older stuff. Drake and Josh.
Well, it wasn't long. It was sort of the same era, I'd say. Okay. If High School Musical was say like the start of that like specific Disney Channel show era, I'd say Lemonade Mouth was kind of nearing the end of it, if that makes sense.
I was going to say, High School Musical must have been, what, 2006, something like that?
So, 2005, 2006, yeah. I remember I was young when I first watched it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So the next film I need some comedy now, so I've got The Pick of Destiny. Again, third musical on the list, because I'm also just sneaking in more songs to this desert island. It's just a classic. It's funny. It always gets me going. Mm-hmm. And the last one, I really struggled, and I've still not like officially picked my last movie on the list.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to have to be one of the High School Musicals, just because they're some... I hate to admit it, but they're some of my favourite movies of all time. I'll go with the first one just so I'm not starting off the series halfway through on the desert island. Mm-hmm. But I'll go High School Musical for my last.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to admit it's a bit of a banger. Breaking Free is an absolute tune.
Bop, yeah.
Was it Bop to the Top as well?
Bop to the Top, yeah. The whole thing. To be first, second, and third film, the soundtracks go hard. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm killing my street credit naming these tunes.
Oh no, you're growing it, man. You're growing it. Disney Channel's on a comeback. You know, it's starting to be all over my For You page again.
That's it. I mean, my wife's first ever show was Hannah Montana, so Miley Cyrus, if you will.
Yeah, good show that.
So it's in the household, put it that way.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, although very musical, those are your 5 desert island movies.
Yes.
Very good choices. You're an eclectic person. It's like you cover all bases.
So it helps that I studied theatre as well. I feel like that's probably why there's so much musical influence in there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Righto. So let's have your 5 desert island albums.
Yeah. So again, this took me so long. When I tell you, I've changed the list at least 10 different times.
Yeah.
So first, I've got to start off the bat. I need a metal album on there. So I've gone with just my favourite, which is Helveti's Ategnatos.
Wow.
Folk metal band.
Don't like that for me.
Oh, you should listen to them. They're incredible. Okay. They're a folk metal band from Switzerland, and this is their, I say newest, it came out a few years ago. Yeah. But I think most recent album. It's just banger after banger, not a single skip on there. It can get you pumped up, but it's also like, it's got that folky element.
Yeah.
So it's not just pure balls to the wall anger. It's like nice and rounded. I love that album.
What language was it? Sorry.
Most of the songs on the album are English.
Okay.
In English, they're a Swiss band. I know they've released a lot of stuff in Celtic before as well, but I think that album's mostly English.
Okay, sorry. Remind me the name. You're gonna have to send me the name.
Elvete. Yeah, it's spelt weird. So it's Eluveitiie. Helveti.
Wow. Yeah.
And the album's Ategnatos. I will. Yeah.
Awesome. Good first choice. What's up second?
So next, I need something fun. So I've gone with... I don't know if it counts as cheating, because it is officially released, but ABBA Gold, which is sort of their best of album.
Yeah,
with all,
we can
all
do
the
best
hits
ofs.
on there. Yeah, because I have got it on record, so I know it's an official album.
Yeah.
It's basically just every ABBA banger on that. like you can never like if I ever need something to cheer me up, I've got ABBA on this desert island.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're on a desert island and you've got ABBA, there's no chance you're going to be in a bad mood.
Exactly. It's just like guaranteed to lift your spirits. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then on the flip side of that, sometimes you don't want to be happy, and that's why I've got Adele's 21 on there.
Okay.
So it's just because I remember listening to this album, specific like her 21 album, in the car with my mum when we drive to school or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was recently I started like using my iPod again. To listen to music, and I put that album on it, and I sat down and properly listened to it front to back, just no distractions, and I forgot just how incredible like Adele's work is. I don't know what it is about her voice, but it just hits different.
What era is 21? We're talking Chasing Pavement?
It has, sorry, I get the albums confused because I do listen to all of them. 21 has like, oh god, my camera's covering the side of Spotify that has brilliant. I should know this. I chose the album, but oh yeah, so it's got like Set Fire to the Rain. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Don't You Remember? Rolling in the Deep, Rumor Has It, Turning Tables, that era. Yeah. Someone Like You. Yeah.
Bangers after bangers.
Yeah, they all just go hard. I've got myself in the habit recently of, sorry, I'm trying to get you back on my screen. I've lost you. There you go. I've got myself in the habit of just putting on headphones and for a solid 2-3 hours just listening to music with nothing else going on. And Adele is one that I'm constantly going back to again.
Yeah, I mean, you've just reminded me. You've actually gone back to an iPod Classic, haven't you?
Yeah. I still use it.
That's cool, man. As if I love that. What made you do that?
So I've always been very much interested in the side of like the internet that's like retro tech, all that kind of stuff. I really was into retro game collecting. And I remember watching some dude customize an iPod, and then I came across, I've also been a fan of Dank Pods' channel for a while, and I don't know what it was just me getting so sick of constantly being on my phone, constantly being bombarded with notifications, and I just felt like I was losing my love with music. Yeah. It felt like, because everything I was listening to was being shown to me from an algorithm or this and that, it never really felt like I was actively choosing what to listen to. So I thought it'd be a fun challenge to go back to the iPod. And I absolutely fell in love with it. I don't know what it is about it, but having a separate device just for your music just helps you tune everything out and really appreciate it. Yeah. If that makes sense. I felt like such a deeper connection to the music that I haven't felt in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Like, exactly agree with everything you're saying. Like, you've got it on your phone, but then you got a notification going off. I'll click on that, and then you click on, I don't know, Instagram, TikTok,
exactly.
Whatever.
It's just autopilot. You end up scrolling.
Yeah. And then having Spotify, incredible thing that it is, but it's just so easy to skip.
Oh,
don't
yeah.
listen to that. Don't listen to
that. Well,
like,
literally, I noticed yesterday because for some reason my iPod was charging or something, and I was like, well, I've got to put some music on. So I was on Spotify for the first time in a while, and I genuinely spent so long just scrolling through songs, swiping, skipping, and it made me think. I was like, when I had like the limited amount of music on the iPod, I'd just sit there and listen to an album. No skips, nothing, and just appreciate it. I don't know what it is about having it so easily accessible that makes it so much harder to just stick with something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean, whenever I'm in the car and a song that I'd normally skip, somewhere mentally I'll go, I'm going to listen to this time, and I'm going to listen to it all the way through, and I just thoroughly enjoy that song, even though on an average day I'd skip and skip.
Yeah, like getting ready today, I was listening. I had a few musical songs on, and Good Morning Baltimore from Hairspray came on. Yeah. I haven't listened to the Hairspray soundtrack in years, and I would normally skip it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to leave it on today. And I was just dancing around my room having a blast. You forget how good some music is sometimes. Yeah,
and awesome. I love Hairspray. When we used to do the school productions, I played the bass for Hairspray. There's so many like groovy bass lines and everything.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah. I'm here for the musicals, for sure.
Hell yeah.
Right, so what's up next on your list of albums?
Right, I've got to go back to my list. Hang on. Where's my notes at? There we go. Yes, next one. So speaking of musicals, I had to choose a musical soundtrack for this. And it is... I've got 3 written down here. I'm going to pick... Okay, I'm going with this one. I'm indecisive as fuck. I think I'm going to go with the Heathers soundtrack, specifically the West End one, because that's the one with I Say No, and that song is a banger.
Okay, you'll have to educate me.
So, are you aware of Heathers? So, based on a film from like, I think the 90s, 80s, 90s, musical, high school, murder, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, interesting.
General kind of high school shit, but
Yeah.
like the way I described it in a video once was, imagine the school shooter was hot. That's Heather's. But no, the soundtrack absolutely. It's just one of those where you've got like your really high belty kind of musical songs. You've got your more fun ones where you can dance to. You've got your more gut wrenching ones. It's just diverse enough, and again, it's another one of those soundtracks that I listen to without a skip. It's just banger after banger. So,
Awesome.
And I had to get a musical one on there. So,
Of course.
do you want to go into the last album?
Yeah, let's hear your last one.
So the last one, I needed to get a bit angsty. I was like, right, I got to get some pop punk rock stuff in.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to figure this one out. I think I'm going to go with The Great Depression as it is. Because that album, I'd probably say when it comes to like rock or that era of rock, definitely one of my top albums of all time.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Go on, sorry.
Oh, I don't know how much of if you're aware of As It Is or the album.
Not a fat lot. I've heard them, but I couldn't list off the albums.
You should
Is that the top one?
The Great Depression, in my opinion, it depends who you ask. In my opinion, The Great Depression is their best work. I think the story that the album tells is for like one of those like Warped Tour bands back in the day. I think it takes a much more sophisticated view in writing music, especially in that album. Yeah. So you can really sense some of the depths in the depth in the lyrics and all that. And again, there's a range of different kind of moods in the album. You've got your highs and your lows. There's just something about it. It tickles all the right parts of the brain, and Patty Walter's voice is incredible. So yeah, we'll go that.
Awesome. Again, eclectic as ever, and deserted on a desert island, and you're gonna have ABBA. I'd happily be with you.
ABBA was the obvious choice. This is the first one for me, at least.
Yeah.
It was like, I know that will always be happy. I will never get sick of them. We can stick them on safely.
That's it. Perfect. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Trash Talking. It's been honestly an incredible pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been a pleasure to be on.
No, thank you. Where can people find you over on the socials?
You can find me mainly on TikTok and Instagram, both under the name That One Edgy Kid.
Awesome. Definitely go and follow. And until next time, I'll see you all next time.
Bye.